Okay, I decided to come back to this same location where I had both the K and KA sources, and I decided to go and grab a whole bunch of detectors that I've accumulated over the years, all retail units, to see how they did. I've been pretty much driving with the Redline and the STIR and 9500 CI, but these guys have been sort of collecting dust here, and I'm anxious to see how these guys do. And Again, you can see I brought my resonant laser and radar expert. And again, he'll be certifying these results as valid. So I hope you enjoy these runs, and let's see how they all do. Okay, we're going to start with our first detector today, being the Beltronics GX65. We're going to try to duplicate as much as we can here, keep things constant from Sunday, but we're coming into rush hour today, and so I expect the traffic to be a little heavier. Try to get our approach speeds up as closely as we can, and we may even run another detector from Sunday to see how it performs in today's environment with the heavier traffic.
K-band.
You can see the threshold that we crossed, K2, K6. There you have it. Okay, we're making our approach to the first KA. See how the GX65 does.
KA band.
Got a state trooper here. Looks like he is running radar. This should be interesting. Okay, there you have it. We're going to move on to the next detector. Okay, here we have an M4 based RX65, one of my old time favorites. Brand new or just opened. We're going to run this RX65 against this K source again. Approach speed's about 70. source. Okay, we're going to move on to the next two KA sources. Okay, approach speed's about 70. There you have it.
KA bad.
You can see when you go around the curve, you go from a level 1 as indicated here almost to a level 7 with an extremely short period of time. Should be seeing our trooper friend up here on the left. Though it doesn't look like he's running K radar at the moment. Just keeping an eye on things. Okay, we should be approaching and getting an alert very shortly to KA again.
KA bad.
Okay, there you have it. On to the next detector. Okay, this is a very special detector for me. This is the original RX-65 that I drove with back in 2005 when I did my really signature and first real-world detector test with the 8500 X50 and the Valentine 1 at the time. This is an S7 based detector, which is regarded by many enthusiasts as a superior platform. It's a little bit more expensive and it required perhaps a little bit more tuning, and this model has been tuned. And boy, it appears like it did alert a little bit before the M4. And our approach speed is about the same at 70. Passing the source. There you go. Also seemed like the trailing alert on this guy was quicker as well than the newer M4s. It seemed like it dropped off pretty quickly. Okay, we're going to move on to the 2KA sources lying ahead here, 34/7. Making our approach to the first of two constant on KA sources at 34/7 with our old friend, the S7 version of the RX-65 from Beltronics. Approach speed is at 70. There we go. Feels like KA lagged on this, interestingly enough. Felt like it. So at least with this model, I feel like the M4 version of this actually did a little better, at least with this first one. Let's see how it works with the next one. It's quite surprising. See the brake lights up ahead. Our friend's up here again, sitting there. Okay, approach speed is about 70.
KA bad.
Passing the source. See how quickly it releases it. The trailing alerts seem to be more reasonable on these older models. Okay, on to the next detector. Okay, we're going to make a run now against these three sources, the 1K and the 2KA, with an 8500X50. And I'm not sure if this is an M4 or what the platform was in this detector. The FCC ID is QKL8500, and I trust somebody on the forum will recognize what that platform is and perhaps comment once this video has been published. Okay, it looks to be a pretty good response on K-band here. We're about 70 miles an hour on our approach. Also appears that the older Escorts have a pretty short trailing alert, which I very much appreciate. 9 seconds is an awfully long amount of time. On to the next two KA sources. Okay, we're coming towards the first of two 34/7 constant on KA sources. We're making our approach with a retail model of Escort 8500X50. Approach speed is about 70 now. Let's see how we do here. Should be getting an alert pretty soon. Huh. Here you go. Again, it feels like the M4s have a little bit better sensitivity to at least 34/7 KA. Okay, approach speed is 70. See the brake lights? That trooper must still be there. Sure is. Okay, we get our alert. Interesting enough, this is indicating two bogies. There you go. Escorts seem to have a shorter trailing duration with these older models. Okay, we're going to be on to the next detector. Okay, we've got on the windshield now a retail version of a Escort 9500i, not the iX. As I say, this is an M4 platform. We'll see how it does on the K-band here.
K-band.
See this, you can see yeah, you can see, as I wrote in my original review of the 9500 some years ago, 9500i, which was the red model, that its ramp up was seriously deficient in some cases, and you see here it is not nearly as linear as the earlier models. And you can also clearly see that the 9-second or 8.5-second trailing alert is made its appearance here with this detector. So we're going to continue on and see how this 9500i does against these two KA sources up ahead. Okay, we're coming around the first of a couple curves here, making our approach with the M4 based 9500i blue model. Approach speed is about what we've been doing, 70 miles an hour. This speedometer on my car is pretty accurate here.
KA band.
You can see the alert ramp here. You can see with this alert ramp the two issues, which I also pointed out. It is not linear even on KA, and it goes to maximum far too much, and too quickly, I mean, and it makes it very hard to gauge the actual proximity to the source. And this, unfortunately, design is carried over to other models of Escort, including the 9500 CI.
KA band.
It's like the dynamic range has been compressed. You can see the 8 or 9 second trailing alert on the KA band as well. And you really have actually no ramp with this approach relative to the other older detectors and even the Escorts. It's like right at the maximum. And that really does make it virtually impossible to determine the effective distance to the threat. And I really do wish Escort would get around to addressing that issue. Okay, we're going to go on to the next detector in the series. Okay, we have a Escort 9500iX. This was a version here that was sent back and tuned and verified for performance some time ago. It's been sitting in a box for a little bit, but let's see how the blue version of the 9500iX does. Seems to be doing quite well on K. See how the ramp is going to be. Approach speed's just a little under 70. Again, you can see the trailing alerts starting with the 9500 I are back to 8 and 9 seconds, and that's where they've stayed with Escort. You can also see that the ramp is just not linear like it used to be, and in this case it seems like there's no 6, 7, and 8. It just goes right to maximum, and again, that just makes it hard to gauge the actual severity of the threat. And I really wish they would address that. It's pretty clear. Okay, we're going to move on to the 2KA sources up ahead. Okay, we're coming around the first of several curves here as we approach the first of two 34.7 KA constant on sources. Our approach speed has been pretty consistent at around 70. We're going to see how this 9500 IX does. Should be getting an alert pretty soon. There we have it. See how the ramp does. There you go. Same thing. Really can't tell where the real threat is based on this alert. Passing the sources now. Should be getting an alert momentarily. Wow. Right at maximum. You can also see in the case of this alert, it almost seemed like the IX lost the signal for a minute, went into the programmed trailing alert, and then ramped right back up to the maximum. So just a real choppy ramp up, and I really wish come back and address that. It would make this detector so much better, in my opinion, from a usability standpoint. Okay, we're going to move on to the next detector. Okay, we're taking out another one of my old friends, the Beltronics V955 or Vector 955. This is also one of my favorite little detectors in Beltronics' value line. People on a budget, and I think it's the Beltronics Vector series is a good series of detectors for somebody on a more limited budget, as well as the other models. Here we got an alert on K-band. can see, I don't know if you noticed very subtly, but when that silver car pulled out of the left lane and into the center and blocked the radar source, there was a slight drop in amplitude. It took the detector a little bit longer, or a little bit more time to recover to reassert its urgency level. Okay, we're going to move on to the next two KA sources with the Beltronics Vector 955. Okay, we're coming around the first of a series of curves with our retail Vector 955 from Beltronics. And as of today, March 30th, 2011, I'm not sure that the V955 is even available any longer. I think there was a time that it was discontinued. But there's the 940, which is the entry level to the series. I believe a 965 and then a 995. And I think they've introduced some newer ones, similar, but with like, what do you call it? Camouflage, like a V6, V8. But I would expect similar performance. Seems like a good alert with this M4 detector. Again, it appears to me that the M4 platform appears to do a little better with 34.7 KA than the older S7 variant. Passing the source now. In this case, it seems like if you look at this alert after we pass the source, that the Vector 955 appears a little lethargic to varying signal strengths. I noticed that with the K source with the car, and then this passing of the KA source. Let's see how it does again with the next source.
KA band.
Passing the source. Yeah, now, is it possible we're looking at a programmed trailing alert decay? Not sure, but it just appears to be a little lethargic, not decreasing in alert levels as you pass the source, and obviously it goes behind you, and signal strength is going to drop off pretty rapidly there. But anyway, there's a look at the M4 based Vector 955. Okay, and last, and quite possibly the least, you have one of the Darth Vader's radar detectors, the Cobra 9955. Now, I'm just kidding about that, by the way. So let's see how the mighty Cobra does to the first K source. Approach speed is about 70. Pretty respectable. Now, interestingly enough, the Cobra has the exact opposite problem of the Escort radar detectors. Their dynamic range is far too high.
Alert.
And you see we're at 2 bars here. It just briefly touched on 3. We're at 2 dots. And, well, you know what? It's making a liar out of me on this case. Yeah, good for it. Okay, it did peak up there. So it got up to the maximum there. It's just been my experience with some Cobras that their dynamic range is very large, and it never gets to its maximum, and that may be more on KA. So we're going to have to see how this detector does with the next 2 sources of KA 34.7. Okay, we're coming around the first of a couple curves. So we approach our 34.7 stationary K source. I'm sorry, KA source. see how this Cobra does. I want to pay particular attention to its alert ramp on KA. My recollection is that it doesn't get to its maximum level. At least I recall that on 35.5 KA. We'll see how it does with 34.7.
KA alert.
Okay, we have a level of 1. See, it's not really increasing. It's staying at 1 this entire time. Now we got 2. Now we got 3. Now we're at 4. Now we're at 5, just as we pass the source. So the ramp is there, but the dynamic range is just too great on this detector, which is the opposite of the Escort. And as you can see, it really should be at its maximum alerting well before or just before we get into the the range where your speed can be detected, and that just isn't happening. So we'll see how it alerts to the second and final source of the KA here. Approach speed is about 70. At a level 1. Now it's off. Now it's on again. I can see the sign getting a read, and it's showing a level of 1. We're well in the capture range right now. And you can see now we're at level 2. Now we're at level 3. We're passing the source. Now we're back to 2. We're back to level 1. And the one thing I noticed, the Cobra doesn't have a trailing alert either. Nothing like the Escorts. But still, just doesn't convey properly the threat with its alert ramp, the opposite of Escort. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this next series. And the next series we're going to be is with the mighty remotes from Escort and Beltronics. Hey Dante, do you have anything to say about today's testing? You comfortable with what you saw, or do you have any comments or concerns? Okay, I think that means our results are certified again. I want to thank you, Dante, for your participation. I do appreciate your input and expertise. Pop quiz, hotshots. What are we looking at here? Give up yet? A newbie Cobra owner's idea of high mounting. Now, how many of you sharpshooters got that one? Catch you later.